And Mr. Moffett is excused.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
We'll entertain a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from April 24th and also for the minutes from the site walk on May 8th.
Motion to approve regular meeting of 4/24 and a walkthrough of 5/8 with any necessary corrections.
Do we have a second? Okay, we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion
I'm sorry,
carries.
who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Tim?
Can he second if he wasn't there?
Yeah, he's a voting member.
Okay.
Let's see. Approval of bills.
We have none.
All right. Correspondence.
I have no correspondence either.
Public session. Would anyone from the public like to speak? Would anyone from the public like to speak?
Hi, Thomas G. Egan, 52 State Street, Ansonia, Connecticut. Um,
Go ahead, Mr. Egan.
is tonight's discussion about 241 Main Street?
That is a new application that's
Okay.
being proposed. So that is on the agenda.
My only comment I have for that, always good to see new businesses coming to downtown. I don't know if this is the proper forum. I just want to make sure that the water here in the city can support this. That's all. That's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just realized my camera is not on. There we go. Sorry about that. Let's see. Anyone else from the public like to speak? Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to speak? And a third call, is there anyone else from the public who'd like to speak? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to close the public session.
Motion to close.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. New business, we have a application for 241 Main Street, Marcinic Brewery Tap Room and Restaurant.
Yeah, I wish it was my name. No, it's not. Hello, commissioners. My name is Michael Marcinic, principal at AEPM International on 241 Main Street in Ansonia. I'm representing the owners of the building 241 Main LLC for the modification. Well, actually, it's a new site plan for the brewery to be located on the rear first floor of the building, in the rear of the building. It's actually there's an attorney in the front of that space, Attorney Stamos. The brewery would take the rear portion of the back side of the building all the way to East Main. And they would also look to take the second floor of 241 Main, which means AEPMI would have to move to the third floor. Included in our application is a request to extend the rear of the building by 15 feet. So if you go by the building right next to the post office, between post office and City Hall, there's a dirt parking lot there. We would extend out 15 feet, and we will be putting in a new generator, three-phase generator, which means we'll be coming in on the ground with power. And then in the alleyway, we're going to be putting in a new three-story elevator to access the second and third floors for this, both our space as well as the brewery for handicap accessibility. open to any questions. The amount of square footage that the brewery is actually going to take is going to go from existing square footage in the back of 4,631 square feet to 5,248, plus another 2,450 square feet on the second floor. We also are going to propose in the drive area, a outdoor patio, so that the drive area is actually going to disappear between the placement of the elevator as well as the new canopy that's going to be in the front to introduce a new front door for the brewery. We've taken into consideration the trucking of the USPS mail. We've rotated the elevator as far, let's call it far west as we can on that on our property, so that when the big trucks come in, they're able to pull in. If you look at the floor plan that was submitted, near the bathrooms that we're proposing, and they still can back into the loading dock area, so that we wouldn't impact that truck movement for the drivers. And I've been in contact with the truck company as well to notify them that this was our plans. I'm open to questions.
Are there any poles involved in that back area?
Yeah, actually, there's one pole that has the transformers on. That will come down. There are three 200 amp pole mounted transformers. Those will all be converted to a ground mounted transformer, probably 1,000, 1,200 amps that we're going to need for the brewery equipment. So one will come out. They'll probably use the second one to go from the pole into the transformer.
So where would there be a pole on this property in the back?
No, the pole is right now on the sidewalk. Essentially, it's almost in the road. So if you look at the site plan, where there's a stair area over there where it says egress stair only, that's about where the pole is on the sidewalk of the town property. That will remain. So the one that's inboard on our property is located about where that stair is off the rooftop.
Okay. What about, I know you talked a little bit about the, and I'll just preface this that I was away this weekend and I really didn't have much time to look at this, but setbacks for the outside eating area.
Side setback at 5 feet. So we're going to maintain that 5 feet separation. Now, we're going to have to work with the post office on safety, bollards and things like that. So we still have to work with them on making sure that we're not concerned about the postal trucks, but sometimes the mail delivery service, they tend to like to go the other way through their postal drive area to Main Street. They will be able to do it. There's enough room on that side. Right now, we have a dumpster in there and that they get around it. So they have enough room to go around it. We'll just make sure that the bollards that are put up for patron safety is on the easement area.
Okay. Now, your area where the garage is, that's what's going to be renovated to be the elevator?
No. If you look, the garage area is actually where the tanks are. Do you want to pull up the plan? Do you have the plan?
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't have it digital. I have it in front of me. I'm
Okay.
looking at it.
I can pull it up.
Jared, I sent it to you and Dave in your email today.
Yeah, I can pull it up if that would help, Jared.
Yeah, that's fine, Dave. Sorry. I
All right, give me 1 minute.
didn't have the best day today.
What do you mean, Jared? Every day needs to be the best day. Are you kidding me? We don't get to have not best days around.
Easy for you to say up in the mountains there.
I know, I wish. It's a wishful thinking there, that background. All right, give me a minute. Let me just figure out which screen to share.
Okay, so this is the
Um,
site plan.
It's just the I want to make sure you're seeing the right screen. What screen
This
are you
is a
seeing?
survey. This is
Yeah,
a
we're
survey.
we're seeing your PDF, your Adobe.
All right. All right, next page.
Okay, with that, yeah, right there. All right, so the elevator, if you look right in the middle of the building, next page, right down,
Sorry, Mike.
right in the middle of the building, right there is where the elevator is proposed. That's our current driveway area. The garage is in the lower left corner, to the left.
Okay, so that's going to be a new structure.
We're gonna tear down two of the walls and create a new structure and actually make the building go back further but narrower, so it's not gonna be as big on site, because we've got to provide a stairwell that people can access the venue from East Main Street parking.
So if I'm in a wheelchair, how am I getting to that elevator?
Main Street, coming off Main Street. We've got to make sure it's a handicap accessibility. There's two handicap spots in front of the City Hall. Now, if you wanted to make one of those in front of our building, that's fine. We can do that. So if you look at the site plan, right. So go to the left, no, the other way.
Sorry, Mike. Hold on. I'm working with my Zoom tools here.
Okay, so that drive area to the north of the building.
Right here. Yep.
That'll be all handicap accessible to the back elevator. That sidewalk is handicap acceptable right now.
Where is the elevator on that drawing?
If you look at there's it's, you know, where they see the dimension, right just to the north there. You had it before, right
Okay.
there, just to the north there.
And then you could still, on your property, walk past that to get to the door.
Right.
Because the
Right.
door is on the East Main Street side, is that correct?
That's correct. Because of it's about 12 feet from the building to the setback line. And because of the size of the elevator, we've had to turn the elevator so it's actually sideways in order to keep the 5-foot maintenance on the easement side, the town regs, for the town regs.
Okay.
So somebody, you'll be, if you're in a handicap or a wheelchair capacity, you'll be able to go by the elevator and into the doorway.
That was what I was just going to ask. So if you're in a wheelchair, you don't have to take the elevator up to the first level. You're already at it.
You're correct. We'll have it. You'll be able to get in the building through a ramp, but the elevator to get upstairs to the second floor or the third floor, you can get in that way. Correct.
Okay.
What's the hours of operation?
Has not been determined yet. The people who we're looking at and having a discussion with, they, for the most part, they don't stay past 10 o'clock on the brewery side. So they're not late. It's not a late bar situation. It's more
No,
of
I'm thinking about what time do you open?
Oh,
Because I'm thinking about the 2 parking spots at City Hall that's going to be utilized till around 4 or 5 o'clock. Is that restaurant going to be open before that?
it's open for, it's going to be open for lunch, but most of the businesses around here aren't really that busy. even when Schifrio's and Palma were there was always open spots. But now that both those two restaurants have moved, across from City Hall is actually pretty dead.
In front of your building, is there a parking spot?
Yes, there's one parking spot there.
Is it possible to make that handicap?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have an objection. That's not, it's up to the town. If they wanted to make it, we could do that. We can, right there.
Mhm.
That may be up to the state.
Yeah, it's a state road.
So patrons would not be using that front entrance to go to the brewery. They would just
Correct.
use that
So-
to go into the attorney's office or the
Or
second
our
floor.
space. No, actually, they probably wouldn't even let them go through that way for the second floor. The second floor is going to be an event space for the brewery. They will use that as their emergency egress. We're going to convert our third floor to our main entrance. So if you actually looked at the site plan on the third floor, go down to the next drawing, Dave. You know, that's our now new front door, is going to come off the elevator as well.
Okay.
So that whole front is going to be emergency egress except for Attorney Stamos. And
And
we're
is
also,
this,
I
go
was
ahead,
just
go
gonna say,
ahead.
we're also maintaining his secondary egress out of the first floor area. The actual first floor of Attorney Stamos is actually 3.5 feet higher than the backside here. If you look, yeah, so if you look, go down to the second one. So if you look at that dark shaded area in the front.
Yep.
On the top, that's actually almost 3.5 feet higher. It's like 4 steps, 3 steps higher than the back area. This building is actually a configuration of one main building back, I don't know how early 1900s, maybe late 1800s, and then 3 additions. And they didn't make any of them meet, except for the back ones.
Okay, so the first floor is going to be the brewery in the back and kind of a restaurant bar area in the front.
The brewery, right, the brewer of the beer and the kitchen will be in the back space of it, and the tap room will be in the middle, right in the middle.
Gotcha. Okay.
And there'll be a canopy announcing the entrance of the brewery.
And in a shout out to Commissioner McCormick, will there be a dishwasher in the kitchen?
No, I don't
Nothing.
care about that. I only care about washer dryers.
Oh, so you got to have clean clothes, but you can have dirty plates.
This has to go in front of Naugatuck Valley Health as well, so.
Just playing fun.
Mike, so where's the canopy gonna go? Sorry, this is David Elder.
There's actually gonna be 2 canopies. One canopy is gonna be over the outdoor picnic area. We're not sure if there's gonna be separate 2 different canopies or carry one over, but if you toggle to the right a little bit. You can see right there, there's the right. We're trying to figure out exactly how it's gonna be about where the beginning of the building is, and then not make it, and so that people walking in will be protected going to the door. There'll be a door right there at the restaurant before the outdoor space.
So one of the questions I had when I saw this, well, actually, this is the first night we're seeing it, so I'll let the commission go, but I did not, typically the canopies have a sign sort of directing people or what the business is. I noticed that I did not see a sign plan. Maybe I'm missing something that you submitted, but I didn't
we're
see
still designing it.
Okay.
What we may do, and we're looking at it, there may be a monument, and again, we got to look at the setbacks and everything else as we put this canopy up. There may be a monument that holds one monument, maybe 3 feet wide by probably going to be 10 feet tall, maybe even 12, of some kind of masonry, and that's going to have the name of the business of the brewery. That's going to hold up a corner of the canopy.
Okay.
But we know we got to come in front of you again for signage.
And,
I have a-
go ahead.
I have a question here. This is Billy. I came in like right after the public session. Hey, how many feet are we off of Main Street to that elevator?
It's probably off of Main Street or off the building. I know it's about 82 feet.
Or from the parking? Where they're gonna be parking?
From the handicap for the people or from the people on parking on East Main?
Well,
really-
either whatever coming in. What's the distance from the parking to the elevator?
Well, if it's coming from Main Street, it's about, from the sidewalk on Main Street, it's probably 100 feet. From East
Right.
Main, it's probably, on the East Main parking area, it's probably 150 feet, maybe 200. Across the
Okay, and
road,
they're coming down the stairs off of East Main?
correct. We have to
Oh,
put
man.
a lit stairwell going, coming down.
Are they gonna put a lift stairwell on there?
No, a lit, for lighting. We're not proposing one over there at this time.
Okay. Long distance either way. They do in the rain.
Run.
Mike, I have a question. What currently is on the first floor of the building?
First floor in the front is Attorney Stamos and nothing else. Besides, a vehicle that I gotta get out of there.
Thanks.
It used to be the old print room, for the, Evening Sentinel, and, there's a lot of demolition that's gotta go in there, a lot of cleanup's gotta happen. It just needs a lot of work. We still gotta put another roof on the back side of the building. We did it on the front. We put a new roof on the front. We gotta do the roof on the back.
I got
There's some
another
good-
question there. How come the elevator's not in the front of the building?
Because it just doesn't work with the restaurant and our space. It's when they did this front stairwell, I don't know, 50 years ago, they really messed up the whole building.
I know, I
Um,
know.
So we've been looking at it probably a month now, back and forth, put it closer to the end of the canopy, first canopy, versus putting it to the back. Because we're very cognizant of the trucks coming in, safety of the patrons, safety of not having the elevator get hit. Believe it or not, the truck drivers have hit my building probably 3 or 4 times already. Out of just total disrespect for their driving. So the problem is, where do you penetrate the building? Because you gotta build a new tower, new elevator tower with the least amount of impact. And where it will work for all the venues. Because you gotta remember, you're touching all 3 venues. You're touching the first floor restaurant space, you don't want to impact them as much. You're touching the second floor event space, and you're touching our architectural practice. So it means this proposal is a very complicated renovation to this building.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to have that elevator in the middle of the building like that. But it is what it is, I guess.
It's not easy. It was not an easy solution.
Yeah, I can see that. There's no way to make a corridor down through there?
Down where,
The front? If you would have put the elevator in the front and make a corridor down.
well,
into the
again,
building?
that's the back side of that. If you go into the front, then I'm impacting Attorney Stamos's secondary egress stairs right here. And I can't, and then I got to figure out, how do I access brewery patrons to get up to the tap room? I mean, not to the event space on the second floor. And how do I impact any of my clients coming up to the third floor? it's not an easy solution.
I think if you put that canopy, like you were saying with the monument and that there, it'll kind of give you like the Cheers look. Like you're kind of going into the, like you're getting in the mood going into the brewery.
Yeah, and
I say that with, I say that joke, with all seriousness, the breweries are all about themes and, design and everything like that. And that's what makes them really attractive.
right. What they loved about our space is that the second floor gives them tremendous opportunity to run events. Something they don't have in their current location.
What are you doing for parking on this?
East Main parking lot. We're within the
Everybody use-
300 feet.
Parking lot fills up pretty quick.
Yeah, not as much on weekends. During the week, it is during the day when the city hall employees are there and the post office employees are there. But weekends, not really. And people will find a place to park.
Mike, one of the comments, this is David, one of the comments that I do have is, well, I will have, or I have tonight, is if we will need the number of required spaces. So I understand it is within the municipal lot, but just because we are trying to keep track of the
Sure.
total number of spaces that are using the municipal lots, if you could calculate the
Yep.
required number of spaces and give that to me, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I can do that.
Any commissioners have any other questions? Mike, I know this is going to go to the fire marshal, but just out of curiosity, is this building sprinklered?
It will be sprinklered. We currently, just to the right of where the elevator is inside the building is the water lines come in. We're actually going to relocate them to the right. You see that little room? There's a couple of doors to the right on the lower side. Go to the right, Dave. See right to the right. Go up a little bit, right? Keep going to the right. Up. Now go right up with your right up, right past Stamos' space. There's a fire pump room. Okay, there's going to be a sprinkler line. It's going to go up into both the second and third floors, and this floor will be. I've already talked to the fire marshal about this, and he did say he wants the building right there is fire pump. He'll want this building sprinklered.
Okay.
So what we're going to be doing is, just so you know, all the there's currently, I believe, and we're still waiting for the site surveyors to locate undergrounds. We believe that the roof drain is connected to the sanitary in this building still. So we're going to have to address taking those and separating them, putting new sanitary in, running new lines.
And Mike, what about exhaust from the kitchen?
It's going to go black iron right up to the roof. There is no space above the kitchen area. So everybody in the city hall with the windows open will want to come over and eat.
All right. Any commissioners have any other questions? Or staff?
I do. So if it's going to be 3 separate businesses in this building, are there going to be 3 separate dumpsters?
No, it'll be one shared dumpster.
And where is that going to be located? Because I'm having a real issue with the dumpster problem over there on Kingston.
In the back, in our space.
It'll be in the back of the building. Is it going to be put on the site plan?
It's on the site plan now.
It's on there. Yeah, it's
Okay.
on there.
And will it be screened?
Yes, it will be screened.
Thank you.
Could you excuse me 1 second? I have a neighbor who just ran over here for a second. 1 second.
Aaron, I was just, this is the first night we've received the application. We have certainly acted on applications before in the past on the same night that we received them. Do you anticipate forwarding this to staff?
Yes,
Okay,
I
I'm
think
back.
it's,
Alright.
Mike, and I know that there was some debate between yourself and Rhonda about this being a modification versus a full application.
Yes.
Um, I don't think we really treat it terribly differently either way, but and she called me about this, and and Dave, I didn't get to talk to you about this before the meeting, but correct me if I'm wrong. A modification is when you're modifying an existing use. And a full site plan application would be if you're proposing a different use than what's currently there. Is that my general understanding?
That's how I understand it to be. I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
okay
if
with
it was,
that.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, I always go with the regulations. So the regulations say a site plan is required to be submitted for any change in use of an existing premises only when the result of such a change would A, invoke the standards for parking, loading, or other requirements of these regulations different from those applicable to the previous use, modify the physical development of the site, including but not limited to features such as access, parking, loading, screening, and buffer areas, or C, introduce, increase, or reestablish the storage, use, and handling of toxic and other hazardous substances. I think that we definitely have triggered parking at minimum. So I would consider this a new application. And honestly, Mike, I think that works to your advantage because the new statutory limits on site plans are at least, I want to say they're 9 years plus 5. So you're 14 years versus what would be 5 if you were considering a site plan modification. Your application process is the exact same in either case. So
Yeah, I was okay. I mentioned it to Rhonda that I was, I didn't know this, so that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
And-
I didn't want to be difficult about it. I just want us all on the same page. That's all.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I will tell you the two things, Mike, when I got the site plan, I would say I'm interested in lighting and signage.
Yeah,
And
no,
Mike,
that
Mike,
will
we're gonna-
come, that will be done when we come in with signage. We know we got to come in again with signage.
And again, remember, I don't know if you already have the tenants already lined up, but we really just need to know that the lettering, the size, and the location meet the regulations. It's not specific to, it could be breweries are us, or it could be, we are breweries. It doesn't matter. We just need to know that the location and the sign size is compliant with the regulations.
Yeah, we're still struggling with the front of the building, trying to determine, are we gonna put a sign on the front of the building and the back of the building as well? Because there'll be a lot of people parking in the back as well. And then, because the way Main Street really runs, we think that a monument right at the building so that people coming down or north or south on Main Street can see that, because right now they don't. They don't see anything until they buy a building.
Mike, I guess, we're going to refer this to staff tonight, obviously, because there's a lot on this. But I also would encourage you, if you get any further detail on that outdoor area, that if you do get anything, that you please forward that along before next month's meeting.
Yeah, we're actually doing some more work on the canopy to make sure that it works. So we're in the middle of the design on the canopy.
But I think to Dave's point too, like the lighting and all that, if
Sure.
that can be, I think that's the area that we're most concerned with is, getting people in and out of there safely and making sure
Yeah.
it's secured.
I mean, in most cases, we're the same concern. We want the place to be lit well, so.
Mike, what's the capacity gonna be on this?
Great question. Looking at
A
restaurant
lot of square
seating.
foot,
Excuse me?
a lot of square footage in that building.
Square footage, yeah, there's, if you look at the lower floor, it's gonna go from 4,600 square feet to 5,250 square feet for the brewery tap room, plus another 2,500 square feet on the second floor. And then, from there, you got picnic area, patio area as well. But could they They're gonna fill the whole place. I mean, half the tap room kitchen area for eating is gonna be significantly smaller than that whole first floor. You know, you have a fairly large kitchen. You've got to have major coolers for the beer, tap room, beer, keeping it cold. Plus his, that he's gonna, what he's been selling out to other restaurants and things like that. You know, but I believe, you know, just in the outdoor patio area, you could probably have 20 people outside. You probably have 70 people inside. You know, besides the event space. The event space theoretically could hold 150 people on the upstairs. If there was an
On a
event.
car. Did you ever go by that Hobbs Company on a weekend?
Yeah,
That parking lot there?
yeah. You know, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna raise the building in the back and put a mezzanine in the back of the building so that they're trucking for either their supplies or coming out with the beer that they're shipping could be done off of East Main and not through the parking lot of the post office. We don't want to go into the post office for our use. We're gonna make sure we don't do that.
All right, any other comments?
Okay, when you come back with the application, I'd like to see a bigger print than this. This is read.
Well, just
Small.
the city has larger prints, but I can print off a large set for everybody.
I'd like to see a little bit bigger. It's hard for me to see this.
Okay, I'll do that. We'll do that with the lighting and the signage too. We should have the signage identified by then.
I have a question. They're gonna be shipping out beer, you said?
Yes,
Anticipating on how much?
don't know. They need to secure a federal and a state license for this.
What size truck?
Oh, no, it'll be probably more of like a box truck. It's not gonna be, they're not tractor trailer. They're not gonna be doing that much beer. Matter of fact, they are talking right now with another brewer to potentially do larger batches at an off-site premise and only the beer they're using for here. So there's other discussions going on.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments? Staff or commissioners? Entertain a motion to refer to staff. Accept and refer to staff.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Holman. Do we have a second?
Second,
Commissioner Levinsky, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Get that off.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone have any other new business? Moving on to old business. 200 Main Street LLC site plan modification. As most of you know, or who, all the commissioners who were able to make it, you know, we did do a site walk of the location, so we can take a look at what was being proposed. Back on May 8th. And I think everybody did receive a good tour of the building and what work's been done so far and what the applicant is looking to propose. With that being said, do we have any comments regarding 200 Main? Yes, sir. Tony.
thank you, Chairman. First of all, I really like both of these projects, the 158 and 200. Very nice apartments, very well thought out, comfortable, quiet with the new windows. I really like the community room with the kitchen appliances, storage. And I like that there's a lot of efficiencies for young people starting out. I'm fine with the additional units at 200 Main, other than the two windows closest to Main Street on Kingston. I think those should be somehow either frost the bottom glass or put a decorative panel over it, similar to what's on the front of 158. Just so you're not depending on the tenant to take care of that. If that was done, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, you know, typically we don't make suggestions and whatnot, but I think this is a little different, especially since we got to see the site. And I don't know the design of it, Mike, but if you wanted to keep the apartment count that you kind of had there, is there any way that you can take the current leasing space and make that an efficiency? And then make your office where those two windows were on the other side on Kingston?
That's an option. That's an option. I mean, we can look at both, putting, a film on the windows so you can't see into those windows. Okay, we'll do both, and then we can report back, or changing the office area to be an efficiency. We can do both. Look at both.
Yeah. I think even if you put a film on it, I mean, if you open the window,
Yeah, you're still gonna see some.
you're
coming
still
in.
going to see in it. So, I mean, I kind of, you know, I kind of
Yeah.
think if we put some finality to this, if you have to make a minor change, we can handle that administratively.
Actually,
Um,
let's just make that decision, because I'm looking at the units. We can do some maneuvering around to do that, so we can do that. We'll turn the current office, leasing office, to be a unit, and then we'll put the leasing office on Kingston. That works.
Yeah, that's
Does any-
better.
does anybody else have any comments on that?
I think that sounds like a good solution. And I also just wanted to comment based upon the site walkthrough that I thought that there was a lot of good attention to detail. And it seemed like the fixtures, the appliances were of a fairly high quality. So I was very impressed with it.
Thank you.
Billy?
I'm pretty much going along with what Tony said there. I think it's a good idea to do something like saying either switch the offices or something with those windows.
No, I think the easiest solution is just to just flip the leasing office to the studio. So we'll have to look at the plan, make sure we have the proper square footage.
All right. Dave, can you prepare a resolution for that while we talk about 158?
Working on that right now. I just want to make sure it was only the two units facing King Street closest to Main Street, right?
No, it's the one unit where there's two windows. It's actually on column line EE to ED, where those units you can actually, if you stood on Kingston Street, you can actually see in. When you get to the other units, they're too high. So the one studio that's on the north side of the building will be flipped with the leasing office on the south side of the building.
I'm a little bit slower than I normally am because I have a broken finger. I promise I'm not giving everyone the finger. I just have a broken finger. That's it. Yeah. Yes, I will work on that.
Okay. Yeah, so it's the studio, the first studio there. Yep, that's perfect. I actually thought it was a little bit bigger, Mike, where you have white box on the,
Yeah.
I thought there was a bathroom in there already.
There is. And the leasing office, you mean?
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
that on here.
It's on the plan, but I don't know if they put it in. I gotta go back and check to see if it was actually installed. But I'm pretty sure it was.
Well, I know the bathroom's there. I just don't see it on the plan here.
Oh, we didn't put the bathroom itself on the plan.
Gotcha.
But those two rooms are actually the bathrooms.
Okay,
So if the new, where it says new tenant, that's actually Big Insurance. That is their bathroom on that side.
okay.
And typically what we like to do is we like to keep them back to back.
Okay. Okay, we'll let Dave work on that and we will jump into 158 Main Street. And again, I'll echo the same comments as earlier. We did complete the site walk. We appreciate your participation with that. And again, I also would echo the comments that I was impressed with the construction in that building as it is now. So we'll open it up to commissioners for comments. Or staff.
This is Maureen. I would just like to reiterate that, my same sentiment, that it seemed like there was a lot of attention to detail, and that the installations of the appliances and the counters, they seem like a fairly high quality product. So I appreciated that, and I would especially appreciate the attention to detail, the variety of units. So, very nice.
Thank you.
Do you have any, Maureen, do you have any comments on the proposed changing of the apartments in the front from commercial space to residential?
I think that they're high up enough that they're okay for residential, as long as the window treatments are installed by by the landlord, not by the individual tenants. I would be concerned about that because there have to be stiff regulations on that.
I mean, that could be part of the approval process. It's being, the owners are going to be installing the window treatments.
So that would in effect put no commercial other than on the West Main Street side.
Correct.
Even though I didn't make this site walk, I think we did a site walk in the past. Mike Gillespie, I think we talked about that then, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
I don't have a
yeah,
problem with this. I mean, Main Street still, they got the commercial on Main. This is the rear of the building. I have no problem letting them put a few more units in. You're not gonna see no difference in, the money this guy spent. Let him do what he gotta do to make it happen,
Yeah, but I
don't
remember
see
the
a problem with
elevation.
it.
Yeah, I remember the elevation, so
The
I don't have a
elevation
problem.
drops down in the back. It's the rear of the building, front of the building is on Main Street, it's commercial. And the rear is,
On 158, excuse me, Mike, 158, the front of the building is elevated almost 8 feet.
it is.
So- Correct. There's no commercial on Main Street on this building. There is commercial on 200 in the front.
Right.
Okay, so the commercial space, as Jared was saying, will be on the West Main Street side.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the elevation, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't
this-
see anything wrong with it.
This, just for, because it's a little different than, the shading is a little different than the other one. So you're proposing basically 205 and 206 to be added?
No, 204, 205, 206. So there's actually on the
Oh,
second
204,
floor.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no, nothing on that side there as well. So those 3 additional units.
Yeah, well, I think that that's the confusion, is the way that we number these floors.
Right.
And that's, so, and I do agree that this is a special circumstance because it's really a half floor. So
Right.
it's really
Yeah.
not a true first floor, you know, walk in the front door on Main Street into a commercial area. It's, you know, walk up a semi-flight of stairs and enter, and the only handicap entrance is in the rear off of West Main. So I do think that this building presents a little bit of a different opportunity than any other building that I can think of on Main Street, to be honest with you.
True.
Being in the front of the building.
Being in the front of the building, correct. Commissioner Levinsky, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was on the fence about this as well, about it being the first floor, but the more I look at it, it's not on street level, and that's the only reason why I'd be okay with putting the units in the front. It is up, like you said, 6, 7, 8 feet. And I think that's the only building with a layout like that in the city center area.
I believe that's true.
Yeah, and I you know, I really just want to preface this that the only reason why this is even being considered is because this is a unique circumstance, and it is basically a half story above street level. Because I don't want to go down this road in the future. I'm still on the fence with this, to be honest with you. I don't see why we can't just have a small, just like you have Attorney Stamos in your building, you know, a small office in the front there to occupy that space. But then at the same time, I also think it's a shared corridor. And do I really want to be taking my laundry out to the laundry room and having somebody come in to meet to discuss a real estate matter? So to me, in that regard, it makes sense to make them residential and not mix the two on the same floor. So I'm interested to hear what everybody thinks about this.
I agree, Jared, it's 100%. It's different circumstances. It's not like any other building on Main Street that you can just walk, open the door, walk straight in. You're walking up a set of stairs. You got West Main Street as your commercial space, straight in, you walk in. So it's in the front of the building, it's in the back of the building. So in my eyes, it works for myself. I'm not sure anybody else.
It works for me because when we did this walkthrough years ago, it was unique at that time, and I still find it intriguing. I'm for it.
This is Billy. I feel that it's a good idea to do that myself.
Okay, do we still want to put the caveat on about the window treatments?
So, Mr. Chairman, this is David. I do have a question. So I have both of the motions drafted. I just want to make sure that they are drafted correctly. I'm not sure. I think I did pull out the plans for 200. So the condition would be that we frost the building owner frost the windows on apartment at station EE, or basically
No,
station.
that one's gonna be changed to the leasing office, Dave, and where it says white box, the inboard white box space will become a new unit there, a studio apartment.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. So all right. So that will not be a unit. The unit will go to where the white box space is. Okay.
Right, correct.
Got it.
Rhonda, do you have any comments on this?
No, I don't.
Whenever you're ready, Dave, I know you're limping
Lower
along.
than usual, yeah, a little bit slower than usual. White box space. So there's no number though. That's the only thing I'm trying to figure out. So
Yeah,
it's
and there's no
one-
number. If you just put in the second, white box space, it'll be converted to a studio apartment. That's all you need.
Studio apartment. All right. All right, so currently reads 200 Main Street, motion to approve application for site plan modification for property located at 200 Main Street submitted by AEPMI International on behalf of, actually it's AEPM International on behalf of Ansonia LLC, dated April 14th, 2023, prepared by AEPMI Design and Building Consultants and Horble and Judson Land Surveyors and Associates, dated December 3rd, 2018, revised to February 12th, 2019. Approval is conditioned upon owner modifying the unit layout to replace second white box space to be converted with a studio unit.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve as stated with conditions?
I'll make the motion, Jared.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner DeLassio, second by Commissioner Holman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
I do have the motion for 158, but there was I think Maureen said that we wanted to make sure that the conversion or the windows would be done by the owner. I wasn't sure if that was,
The window treatments in the building on all floors will be done by the building owner.
Yeah, my concern is I just want to make sure that the windows are, kept in clean and orderly shape so that people aren't putting up, pinning up bed sheets or something. Just want to make sure that they look uniform. So it would be the owner's responsibility rather than the tenant's. Either window treatments, or if they wanted to maybe fog the windows somehow, or screen them, put a shield on them so that people can't see into the apartments or see window treatments that are ugly and haphazard.
So you want to put in the motion, no sheets?
Thankfully, there's laundry rooms on each floor, so they don't have to air dry their sheets.
Yeah, yeah,
At least they would be clean.
Poor Maureen's never gonna live that down.
I don't want to. I want to keep bringing it up that we should have washer dryer.
Good
hookups
thing there's
in
no
the park.
fence going there.
Huh?
Good thing there's no fence going there.
that in perpetuity, being responsible. All right, well, this is what I have. I can read the motion. So the motion currently reads 158 Main Street, motion to approve application for site plan modification for property located at 158 Main Street, submitted by AEPM International on behalf of Ansonia LLC, dated April 14th, 2023, prepared by AEPMI Design and Building Consultants and Horble and Judson Land Surveyors and Associates, dated August 28th, 2018, revised to February 12th of 2019. Approval is conditioned upon owner being responsible for window presentation treatments or otherwise provide historically consistent window treatments. Did I get that right? I'm not quite. I don't know if historic is really what you're going for, Maureen, so.
Standard.
Uniform, okay. uniform window treatments or,
Approval is conditioned upon owner being responsible for window presentation, treatments, or otherwise provide consistent window presentations. Window treatments? Maybe it's just, I have treatments for it.
yeah, window treatments is fine.
All right, so everything remains the same except the last sentence. It says approval is conditioned upon owner being responsible for window presentation or otherwise consistent window treatments.
Sounds good.
Any further comments? Would anyone like to make that motion as presented?
I'll make the
Actually,
motion.
I have one other comment. Dave, are you able to add in there that due to the elevation of the first Main Street level that we're making this approval?
Yeah, and in both cases,
No.
just for 158?
Yep. There's no residential fronting on 200, so it's not necessary.
In recognition of the unique elevation change. Unique elevation.
You
Of
can
the
just put
existing
unique
structure.
elevated elevation. The exist that doesn't make sense. Elevated elevation.
And recognition of unique buildings.
How about in recognition of the unique first floor elevation or the Main Street elevation?
Or unique blueprint of the building.
Elevation difference. Of the existing structure's first floor. Finished floor.
The problem with saying first floor is I think that Mike characterizes it as the second floor.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say
you
first
might
floor
wanna
Main
call it
Street side.
Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, or Main Street side elevation.
All right, so it currently says, in recognition of the unique first floor elevation difference of the existing structure's first floor Main Street elevation, approval is conditioned upon owner being responsible for window presentation or otherwise provide consistent window treatments. I can start that from the top too. So it says motion to approve application for site plan modification for property located at 158 Main Street submitted by AEPM International on behalf of Ansonia LLC dated April 14th, 2023, prepared by AEPMI Design and Building Consultants and Horrible and Judson Land Surveyors and Associates dated August 28th, 2018, revised to February 12th, 2019, in recognition of the unique first floor elevation difference of the existing structure's first floor Main Street elevation. Approval is conditioned upon owner being responsible for window presentation or otherwise provide consistent window treatments.
Can I just ask, Mike, what do you call that on the Main Street? Do you call that the second floor or the first floor?
That's technically the second floor, the way the building is oriented in the elevator. So it's a second floor, actually.
All right, so.
So maybe just say Main Street frontage elevation.
All right, I like that. I think that's a better way to do it. So in recognition of the main street. So prepared by 8 PM, revised to 2/12/19 in recognition of the main street elevation of the existing structure's first floor. Oh, I'm sorry. Of the existing structure's main street.
Just put on first floor height. Main Street floor height.
That's it, not first floor, just floor height, Main Street floor height.
Good, I like it. That's revised in recognition of the existing structure's main street floor height. I think that's it.
Main Street floor height elevation. Right, you got elevation in?
Well, I had elevation, but I got rid of it, but hey,
Oh,
we'll make it better.
well, I mean, I'm just thinking worst case scenario in the
No, I think
future.
we're good. I think this is
Clear.
it. So, in recognition of the existing structure's main street floor height elevation, period. Approval is conditioned upon owner being responsible for window presentation or otherwise provide consistent window treatments. Want me to start from the top?
No, you did
Yeah.
good.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you. I was looking
Repeat
for
it,
that.
Lori.
Do we have? Yeah. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? Billy, you good with that?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, going on to 8C, proposed text changed amendment to permit the keeping of hens as permitted use of right in all residential zoning districts. Opinion from Corporation Council, set public hearing. So what the Corporation Council has proposed is customary household pets are allowed in any dwelling unit. Livestock or fowl raised purely for profit are not considered an accessory to a dwelling and are allowed only on a farm. The keeping of no more than 6 hens or rabbits for personal use, enjoyment, or consumption may be considered upon application for zoning permit as an accessory to a single-family dwelling with a lot size of at least 1/3 acre, provided that such animals are kept in a sanitary and non-offensive manner in the backyard of the property, considering the number of animals, size of the lot, and proximity of adjacent residences. So that is what's being proposed. It is obviously got to go to Dave Elder to not only put this into our language and our appropriate proposed spot in our regulations, but it also has to be, he's also going to have to go through and take out where this would be contradicted under the livestock and farm use. I also kind of I was thinking, and I did mention this to Corporation Council when he called me about it, was that I'd like to send this over to Jess Christie at the Naugatuck Valley Health District for her input as well, to see if there's anything she can add about the keeping and the proper sanitary keeping of the hens. I think we kind of did the same thing when we had the fancy pigeons way back when.
Yeah, how could we forget that?
And I don't think we put in here, I think we should specifically put that there's no rooster use on anything but a farm, to make that really clear.
A good idea, Jerry.
Yep, I got one around the corner.
Does anybody have any other thoughts on this? I mean, it keeps coming up, in conversation to the Board of Aldermen, around City Hall. We keep coming up to have issues, with some of these because our language is not very direct when it comes to this. So I think it is time that we come up with something. Corporation Council let me know that this is being utilized in another municipality, or it's being proposed in another municipality as well. So obviously we can customize this to what we think, but it kind of
Did we
gives,
get a copy of that?
what's that?
Did a copy of that come through?
Rhonda,
A
did you
copy of
send that out?
text?
No, I didn't. I was waiting for it to get typed up because the only thing I got was that little blurb in an email from John.
That's all I got too. We'll have to, Dave Elder's gonna have to take this, Commissioner McCormick, and put this into regulation form. I think this was, we had referred this to Corporation Council and he basically was sending this back as a potential opinion to what we can do with it. And the real reason why we had referred it was for enforcement purposes. But now that it's being required to have a zoning permit, there would be able to be enforcement action taken if need be, by either our blight officer or our zoning enforcement officer. So we wouldn't have to go through the ACO or the PD for that.
One comment I have is that maybe we could add a graduated level to it where we say maybe anything below a third of an acre, down to like a quarter of an acre, maybe 2 hens instead of 6. I don't know. There should be some opportunity for people with smaller lots. I might be wrong about that. I don't know chickens. I don't know how bad the smell. I don't know if that is feasible, but yeah, if it's something that potentially could work, that would be nice for them too.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we want any front yards or side yards having them. I think it's strictly backyards. So I think it would, I think they tried to leave it a little bit vague here so that the zoning enforcement officer can kind of view each lot on a case by case basis. Because maybe there's a small lot where the house is very close to the road and they have a very large backyard, and it'll work, or in other cases, maybe there's not.
Isn't the limitation there for like a third of an acre though? Like it has to have
Yes.
that? What I'm suggesting is that maybe it could be a smaller lot if we have fewer hens.
I don't think that it changes the size of the structure.
It's not going to change the setback to where you're going to have the coop. It doesn't matter if you have the coop with 6 or 2 in there. You still have to have it so far
Right.
from the property lines.
So does that mean, could it instead be contingent upon the setback as opposed to the lot size? Just because of the strange configurations we have in Ansonia, potentially a smaller lot might work if it's all backyard.
Well, John Marini started with a half an acre and we cut it down to a third.
Well,
Right
I
now it's
appreciate that.
3 acres. So, we've cut it down
Wow.
tremendously.
Yeah,
And so we've really we've cut it down a lot to a third of an acre.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's entirely up to you guys. I'm just saying when we looked at the size of a quarter versus a third of a lot, when you have the setbacks that you're gonna have to meet from the sides and the back to keep it away from the neighboring properties, I don't think a quarter of an acre would be enough room.
Now, however, though, let me just play devil's advocate here, though. What if a smaller lot would satisfy the setbacks? Why would we need to say it can't be, you can't have it just because your lot is smaller than 0.33 of an acre?
Again, like I said, that's up to you guys.
Make
Okay.
special smaller lots.
Well, remember, there's noise, there's, smell, and I think
But
the
it doesn't
point,
change the whole setback thing, though. You know what I mean? Like if you're saying that it has to be a certain number of feet back from the property line, if you're able to satisfy the setbacks, then how would it make it different just because you happen to have a bigger front yard, for example? Your entire acreage might be bigger, but if you satisfy the setbacks, that shouldn't have any bearing. The size of your acreage shouldn't have any bearing on whether or not you're allowed to have the hens. I think I'm making sense here. I could be wrong.
I think you're bringing up a point that's probably gonna be brought up by somebody else anyway, so we might as well discuss it. I think we can accommodate that, but the problem is the wording. I think we should just leave it up to the enforcement officer to give him a little leeway to work it out. Because now you open up a can of worms and he has to figure this out, figure that out. Where I live at, that's where most of that's going to come in play. And I actually live around hens and roosters in this neighborhood. And it can be very noisy. I don't know if anybody saw on Facebook one time I had the chicken wandering in my yard.
that was the rooster, right?
A rooster, yeah. Well, no, I think that was the hen, but there is a rooster.
I remember we
So,
actually heard
yeah.
it one night while you were out on your deck
Yeah,
at the meeting.
yeah. And these are
Yep.
all smaller lots.
Yeah, I remember that.
These are all smaller lots. So, I mean, I think we should keep it the way it is.
So you think that we should have it as 0.33 acres is the minimum lot size that you can have hens?
I think so. It's
You
going to
have
get
to also
complicated
take
the
it
other way.
You have to take into consideration also what these chickens are going to be attracting. I have chickens, unfortunately, and I get raccoons, I get fox, I get coyotes. You got a lot of different animals that these chickens are attracting. I have to keep a radio on very loud 24/7 just to keep the animals away.
Mm.
What kind of music?
And I have 2 acres of land, so it's still what kind of music? They like all kinds of music. Sometimes I give them rap, sometimes I give them regular piano music. I don't know, whatever's on, whatever I can get on in my area because I have very bad reception. So
I was just wondering if you played the funky chicken at all.
yeah,
That
I
chicken
could.
dance. No, this
Look,
is so hard.
I'm looking at it like this. Look, if you imagine that someone's got a very big front yard, okay, and a very small backyard, but they're able to satisfy the setbacks. Okay, great. Now you have somebody else who has the same configuration of their backyard and can satisfy the setbacks, but is below 0.33 because their front yard is small. Why would the second person not be able to have hens? It doesn't make any sense to me. Because you basically have the same backyards. You're not impacting any neighbors in any different way. Yeah, I don't think it's reasonable. If you've got the setbacks, then I don't think you should have to limit. I mean, if you're saying in the backyard only, setbacks of such and such from the neighbor's property or from buildings, if they satisfy it, I don't see why they should have to have 0.33 acres. It makes no sense.
Well, that's just something that Attorney Marini threw out there. Like I said, we still have to have a public hearing and you guys have to discuss it.
Okay.
What's the setback?
Well, if we're going to go like a shed, it would be 6 feet off of the back, 6 feet off of the side. But I think Dave may have had something drawn up that he can bring back to the table from the last time we were here. Dave, do you have a copy of what that was?
I do, but is that the same? I couldn't quite tell from what corporate counsel sent if what he was sending was in addition to what I had originally prepared, or if it was in entire like replacement.
Well, we kind of wanted to use something like you had for the setback, but his wording.
Okay, can I request that I will take his revised wording, combine it with the setbacks from our last proposed revision, and then share that with all the commissioners before our next meeting. If you want to set a public hearing now, just so we have it on the calendar, that's great, but just give me, I want to put the two together and make sure that they make sense. I mean, it's really going to be lot size, but I just want to make sure that the setback still makes sense at the smallest possible lot size.
Okay.
That sounds good, because I'd love to see the text of it.
Yeah, it's hard right now to try to figure it out without knowing what the actual setback is.
Okay. Do you guys want to do this before our next meeting for the public hearing? It'll give Dave 2 weeks to prepare it, actually a little longer because we're early this month, to prepare it and get it noticed.
Yeah, that's good.
Or do you know when we are for June? 26th? Yes, no, maybe.
Second.
Yes, 26th.
26th, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, can everybody do 6:30 on the 26th?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to have a public hearing on the keeping of hens as permitted on the keeping of hens proposal on June 26th at 6:30 PM on Zoom.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second? Tim?
Yep.
Thank you. Any discussion? I would suggest if anybody has any further comments to send them in. And then we'll, of course, bring them up at the public hearing, but Dave will start us off with at least a draft.
One quick question, Jared.
Yes.
Is there any mention as far as if there will be a fee or how much that fee might be for the permit?
A zoning permit is $140.
Okay,
Is that per chicken?
It's per permit.
Does each chicken have to get a permit?
I would say each 6 would. No, I'm only kidding.
Okay, all right.
thanks, Rhonda.
Well, actually, that's a good question because what if you have, so we're saying you can have up to 6 chickens, up to 3 acres. And then after that, it changes into a farm. Is that correct?
You can have 6 chickens if you have under 3 acres, which now he's saying is a third of an acre. And if you want to have more than 6, you have to have the farm, which would be the 3.
Okay, so then that regulation will kick in after that,
Right.
but we still require a permit if you have a farm.
You know what? I don't think we require a permit if you have a farm. I think it's permitted use of right.
Okay,
that's nice for all the farmers in Ansonia.
It's quite a few of them
You know,
with short fences.
Okay, did we vote on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
no,
Couldn't
we
remember.
didn't vote on this, did we?
Motion was made.
And I think it was seconded, but I don't think we voted.
Oh, okay.
My brain is sunny side up this morning here. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries. So we will have our public hearing on that. Dave Elder, you have your, you're able to do that to get that prepared and, so we can get that over and
I
published
do,
and
yep.
everything?
I will get it to you in advance.
Okay,
So it can be filed with the clerk. Yep.
awesome. Hopefully, hopefully this works out and we can get it and, this has been a hot topic for some time. Well. All right. Any other old business? Anybody have anything old? Items for discussion and possible action? Reports, city engineer?
Mr. Chairman, could you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I have nothing at this time.
Thank you,
Everything for
Fred.
me, just-
Any issues up on Castle Lane?
No, they're supposed to, they're actually following the plan fairly closely, from what the as-built shows. So they're going to, hopefully finish grading and match the grading the way they're supposed to. And then, they will have to cover it with riprap the way they have it. Because it is a 1-to-1 slope.
Okay. All right, thanks, Fred.
Okay.
Zoning enforcement officer, Rhonda, any
Okay, we
violations
had-
or variances?
No variances. We did lift the cease and desist order on all 3 properties on Castle Lane. After Fred went out and checked it. So we lifted the cease and desist orders and they were allowed to start working again. The only enforcement really that we had was 10 State Street. I don't know if anybody's driven by there and seen it all boarded up. The owner of that property continues to rent out that church as like living quarters for people. We've had it posted unsafe to occupy numerous times. And he keeps ripping the stickers off and people keep going in there and living in there. We did get a call from the UI who said there was electrical activity in there. They called us to say this is supposed to be a vacant building. They didn't know why there was activity. And they said they were going to pull the meter or they were going to shut it off at the road. I believe they did shut it off at the road. It didn't stop them from going in there. So we had it boarded up about a week and a half ago.
Is that being
What-
blighted?
It is under blight, yes. I mean, and this has been going on the same issue, because I had to write a report out for the police department. It went back to 2000 that he's been cited for the same issue of renting that out. He even went before planning and zoning and ZBA at some point and requested that he be able to rent it out for living quarters, and he was denied, and he still continues to do it. So the only thing we could do was to board it up so nobody could get in.
I called my foreman because I observed him get out his car with a drill. He was taking the board off the door. So the foreman went over with the cops. I don't know what happened with that, but he still can get in. Trust me, he got a drill.
Yeah, he didn't get the screws out though. He did start to, and Rich went over there and spoke with him, and the police went over there. And he's not supposed to be going in the building. Once it's posted unsafe to occupy, the only time he can go into that building is if he calls the police department and gets permission to go in. And they usually call the building inspector just to let him know. And he's never done that in the last 23 years that he's been going in there and doing this. So I mean, if he gets in there again, I don't know, we probably will end up having to have him arrested. It's just a very unsafe place in there.
I mean, Dave, is there anything else that we can do? I mean, I know we don't typically do enforcement. Is there anything else we can try and help with on this?
Are they the owner or the tenant?
He's the owner
Hmm.
and he rents it out all the time. And then, you know, the last time, the reason why we were really sticklers about it this time was because I want to say sometime in 2021, he had a couple of tenants living in there. We had to take them out because of the unsafe living conditions in there, and then they become the responsibility of the city. So we had to relocate them under the State Relocation Act to a hotel. And in the end, it ended up costing the city $13,000, which we have a lien on that property. So if he gets more squatters going in there and we catch him, they become our responsibility.
Right. I mean, you know this, we've worked together for a long time, so it's either going to be the fire marshal or the public health department that have jurisdiction to go inside if there's an issue with, or even a perceived issue of sanitation, sort of a public health emergency. It'll be generally the fire marshal.
No, the fire marshal wouldn't do anything in this case. We did call him in there. He said he had really no jurisdiction. It wasn't a 3-family house. I mean, he does 3 families and up, but this is just a vacant church building that shouldn't be being used this way. We did get a new state prosecutor recently, probably like within the last month, and he's willing to step in and help us. So that's going to be the next step that we do. I don't know where he'll go. He'll probably get a warrant, but yeah, that's my next step, is to get a hold of him and see if he can do a warrant.
All right, and I'm happy to talk to you maybe offline, Rhonda. That might be the better way to explore any options.
Okay.
Well, this being a safety concern and with it being brought up in front of the board, or the commission, I would just suggest that if anyone sees anyone going in there, to call the police department and let them know. Because obviously, you know, people who they're renting it out to may not be aware of how much of a safety issue this really is. God forbid something happens in there. We have had a fire in there. I was in there years ago for a fire.
You had a death in there too, didn't
We did. We had an overdose in there as well.
you? Yeah.
So, Rhonda, anything else for violations or variances?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Dave, do you have anything under your report for planner?
Not, sorry, I was on mute. No, I do not.
Okay. Any other business to come before the commission? Commissioners, anything to bring up tonight?
Yeah, I have one, Jared. Hey, over there on, Root Avenue and, Orchard Street and Hill Street, that corner, that block house, these guys are parking all over the place over there. I don't know if that's got anything to do with us. They're all over the sidewalks. They got the street blocked up. I don't know if you ever try to go by there during the day. I mean, it's a mess.
Where they're clearing out that lot, Bill?
Yeah, well, actually, not the lot, the 6-family house. Those people just park anywhere they want to park. It's unbelievable. You see, they got the sidewalks blocked off. You can't even get by over there.
Okay, I think that's gonna be a PD issue. They're not parking on like a front lawn or anything, right? They're parking on the sidewalk.
Parking on the sidewalk, which is part of, it's not a lawn. There's no lawn over there. I mean, they park on the sidewalk. You can't even walk by it. On the sidewalk, on the street right next to that. You come around that corner, you know where the stop sign is when you come up? You can't get around the corner over there. And as you go past the open lot or the open driveway, they're parking along the strip there, but that, you can't stop them.
Okay.
It's a mess to get.
Rhonda, do you think that that's PD?
I think it would be. I mean, I can send Rich up there and see where the cars are and send me some photos, but probably the police department if they're all over the road and on the sidewalks especially.
Yeah, I
why
get
don't
the sidewalks right off.
Just see if you could have Rich take a peek, and if it's PD, if you could just, refer it over to them.
Will do.
I
Thank
can
you.
bring that up next week if you want to, Jared.
Oh, Tony, that's right. I forgot about that.
Next Wednesday. Yeah, I'll bring that up.
Thank you. Awesome. All right. Anybody have anything else? All right. Really appreciate everybody's time tonight, and everybody's input. Very good meeting. And what's that, Mike DeLessio?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Absolutely not. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Anyone opposed?
Nope.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Memorial Day weekend.
You
Kick
too,
off the
Jared.
summer, and
Good night.
we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Okay,
Good
bye-bye.
All right, that was the Ansonia Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Whatever today's date is, Monday, May 22nd. Thought the very interesting thing there was the commission is now in receipt of a site plan application to do a little redevelopment project there at 241 Main Street, the former Evening Sentinel building, right between the Ansonia Post Office and Ansonia City Hall. Application calls for a brewery, tap room, and restaurant. Not a ton of details on the brewery, no names, no type of beer, no hours of operation. I didn't take a look at the application itself, but I didn't see how many seats and all that kind of stuff. The thing that kind of jumped out at me was that the parking for it would be the East Main Street lot. I know there's a lot of new buildings, new apartments coming online in Ansonia. They also talked about 158 Main Street and 200 Main Street. That's in the process of being converted from office space into apartments. Now, those plans have been tweaked many times over the years. I think the initial approvals were going back a while ago now. It's got to be at least 5 years. But there's still a decent amount of parking in Ansonia. The East Main Street and that West Main Street lot are very large. So they didn't approve the brewery, but they revert it to staff, which is normal. You get the fire marshal takes a look, building inspector. I don't know who else. But anyway, that's that. I want to thank everybody for joining me. The other thing going on tonight was, and I shared the link, the live stream, Seymour Board of Finance met. The budget up there in Seymour, the school budget and the town budget, been rejected twice by the public. So tonight it went back to the Board of Finance for further tweaking. I didn't get a chance to attend that meeting. Gene Fabel-Sostovich is not working this week. So I did post the stream, however, to Facebook and to valleyindy.com along with the YouTube live stream. If you want to check that out, you can do so by going there. Also this morning, I posted information for the upcoming Derby Shelton Memorial Day Parade, Seymour Memorial Day Parade, and the Ansonia Memorial Day Parade, all available. The info, times, locations, valleyindy.org. Good night. God bless.